Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church coming to you here on the last day of the week. I hope you've had a good week. Hope you're looking forward to the weekend. I hope you're finding God alive and working in your life. And even if you only see a glimpse of Him, keep looking. You'll see more. I want to share with you some encouraging words from Psalm chapter 10 this morning, verses 16, 17, and 18. Here's what it says. The Lord is king forever and ever. The godless nations will vanish from the land. Lord, you know the hopes of the helpless. Surely you hear their cries and comfort them. You will bring justice to the orphans and the oppressed, so mere people can no longer terrify them. And then chapter 11, verse 1 says, I trust in the Lord for protection. Starts out by saying the Lord is king forever and ever. Now, that just seems so silly to say. Of course, God is in charge forever and ever. Now, I'm sure that a lot of people don't believe that. I've known some. But that doesn't change God. Might change our approach to life, but it doesn't change Him. He's still forever and ever and ever. And it says here, the godless nations will vanish from the land. The people who don't do or actively oppose what God's doing will not survive. I know some of them look really powerful right now. Those who you think are working against you seem to be untouchable. And if you're one of those who feels real discouraged about life, you're thinking that, yeah, right, sure, they're not going to win. I'm going to win. Well, yeah, you are, if you let God rule in your life. He said that the godless nations will vanish. And he says, Lord, you know the hopes of the helpless. Surely you will hear their cries and comfort them. If you're not living, quote, on top of the world, and life seems to have gotten you down for good reasons, bad reasons, it's okay. God knows your situation. And He knows your hopes, even when you feel helpless. Now, I've been in situations where I felt totally helpless. I really did. And I did not know what to do. So I did what I knew to do, which was to simply ask God to help. And I've said, you probably remember me saying, if you will, my fallback prayer is and was, still will be someday, God, help me. Please help me. And I know that God promises to do that for each of us, wherever we are and whatever we're experiencing. I know that. Why? Well, two reasons. One, God says so. That ought to be good enough. But if that's not good enough, I know because I have experienced God honoring His word. See, God has a heart for those who seem to be left out. Oh, I know, it appears that God's on the side of those who have everything going for them, all the right kinds of people. And He is at some level, but He hasn't forgotten the downtrodden. He hasn't forgotten, as it says here in verse 18, to bring justice to the orphans and the oppressed. Today, in our world, we don't have many orphans. They do in many other places in the world. We have children who have terrible homes, but most of the orphanages have been closed. But the ranks of the oppressed have not diminished. You see, those who have everything want more. It's kind of the trick of that lifestyle. My grandfather, who was very, very rich, I asked him one time when I was a little boy, I said, "Granddaddy, when do you ever have enough money?" And his answer was, "Well, you never have enough. You always need a little more." And I'm not opposed to those who have a lot. I mean, many of them are great Christians and they're very generous, and I think that's wonderful. I'm not even opposed to those who have a lot and aren't great Christians. That's their problem. It's not mine. But I know that God does not equate favor with how much we have, or how well we're doing, or how much on top of the world it appears we are. God's favor is not limited to those. He's especially concerned for the hopeless, the downtrodden, and the oppressed. And the psalmist says here at the end of that, "I trust in the Lord for protection." You know, God's protection is the greatest protection you can have. Now, granted, at the moment of some altercation, it may not look that way. But what it looks like is not necessarily what it is. So I encourage you today to look out and see what God's doing. If your life is full of vigor and on top, fantastic. Glad to hear it. Keep looking after God and do more and more for Him. But if your life is struggling, hard, doesn't make any sense, then look to God too. And be assured by His own words that He'll take care of you and He's concerned about you. Well, think about that. Hope you have a great day. If you have a prayer concern or a need, let us know. We'll do everything we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. So until next time, God bless you. I'll talk to you again.